Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Do Business Show. I am Todd Frazier, and we are here with John Welches and Jake Frazier, and we are going to talk about running your business with the end in mind today. I'm just jumping right into it. I'm not even messing around. We're going to get into the topic.
The end is near. Why waste time?
The end is nigh. Where does that come from? You're a literature guy.
Old World English.
No, but is there like a book?
Yes, the beginning of nigh.
Oh, I just enjoy you, John.
Oh, bless you.
You are a good guy.
Thank you.
So this topic came up because I get asked all the time. Like last episode, we talked about people saying, "Hey, I want to buy a business." Well, I get asked all the time, "What's the value of my business?" Because I think I want to sell it.
It's a rude awakening.
It is a very rude awakening. So with that concept, I think it's important to think about what is the end goal when you're running a business. What is it that you're looking to get? And I feel like it breaks down into kind of three buckets. And I'm sure there's some variations of each of these, but one is exit. That's the big, sexy Facebook, some sort of big tech thing that sells for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Lots of books on how to do it just right.
Yes, lots of books on how to do it just right. So that's one version, which is the thing that people usually talk about and share about. The other is, I think, running a business to exist, which is, I don't think is a bad way. And I think that's most of my clients is they're running their business to exist, meaning they make a good amount of income.
Yep.
They care for their family, and they have something that they're able to have as an asset moving forward and a vehicle to give them benefits that they wouldn't have otherwise.
They've achieved the lifestyle that they're content with, and they have time to enjoy what that lifestyle allows them to enjoy.
Exactly. And then I feel like there's a third option that actually came up when I was listening to a podcast interview with Dave Ramsey. And this is not about following Dave Ramsey's principles. This is just what Dave Ramsey said about his business himself. The host asked Dave Ramsey, "So when are you going to sell your business?" He's got a huge business. Like,
You've seen the campus?
yeah, $650 million campus. Like, crazy. Crazy.
All done with cash.
All done with cash, no debt.
No debt.
I can't believe that that's a, I mean, I guess he's telling the truth.
Challenge him to come on the show.
Dave Ramsey, come on the show and tell us.
Bring us the paperwork.
We'll audit you.
Yeah, that's right.
But of all the financial personalities online, I feel like he's one of the more trustworthy ones. So maybe he did. He has no debt on a $650 million property, which is insane. Good for Dave. But my point was, they asked him, "When are you going to sell?" Because it's big business, lots of real estate. And he said, "I'm not going to sell.
I'll never sell." Do I sound like Dave Ramsey?
No, well, do it again.
I'll never sell.
No, it's not
manly
round enough. Like that. I don't even know how to. I don't know how to do. But that's not the point.
Right.
We're Dave Ramsey impression.
It's that low T.
We are not. It's that low T.
You had to be there for that one.
So he said, "I'm building it in perpetuity. I'm building it for legacy, and essentially, I'm calling that the eternity play. Okay. I'm going to build this business so big that it is going to be something that benefits my kids, my kids' kids, my kids' kids' kids." So did I do too many kids that last one? Whatever. Lots of generations.
They'll have so much money that the problems that they have will basically be substance abuse and other things.
Yes. They
Chet
will be
Hanks.
social pressures.
They'll be Chet Hanks.
There you go.
Chet Hanks. Who's Chet Hanks?
Tom Hanks' son that is out of his mind.
He has another. I only know about the what's the
Colin
actor?
Hanks.
Colin Hanks.
No, yeah, Chet Hanks
he's
is
a
his
rapper.
brother, and he's out of
Chet-
control.
Tom Hanks has a rapper son. Pull that up.
I am.
That's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Well, and you've also never watched The Lord of the Rings.
Well, okay.
So the
fair.
fact that you haven't heard of Chet Hanks is
Fair. There is Chet Hanks.
This is Chet Hanks.
Wow.
he's doing well.
Is he?
I mean, he's got
No.
he's got a trust fund.
35 years old. And
Years
he's just
young.
rapping away.
35 years young.
35 years young.
It's all about your
Wow.
It's all about your frame of reference.
But that's
The
Chet
things-
Hanks.
the
and
things
he's
you
a
learn.
nightmare.
Wow. I never knew about Chet
He's like
Hanks.
Logan Paul level nightmare.
Oh,
Well, now Logan Paul, so total side note, Logan Paul and Jake Paul have built a media empire, regardless of how you feel about those guys. Wow.
For the children that they know of.
I'm pretty sure those guys are going to spend every dime they have.
Very good.
I don't think they're leaving anything.
Chapter
But Dave
11.
Ramsey we spoke about Chet Hanks, Logan and Jake Paul and Dave Ramsey in the same sentence.
We're going to tag all of them in the
Has
comments.
that ever happened in human history?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's amazing. If we'd probably set a record.
Yeah, I think so.
And Dostoevsky wrote the beginning of Nye, so we could tag him.
Oh, hey, look at that. See, it's coming full circle, John.
Full circle.
It really is.
I apologize.
So the eternity play is what we're going to call it, is the generational wealth. I think of Rockefeller. I think of what are some other big
The Hearst family.
the Ford family,
family.
like the big families that you just know their name because
The Baldwins.
Are they? I think that's the same level. They probably might
The
think
Kennedys.
they are. The Kennedys. Yeah, ooh, that's an interesting-
Perpetual wealth.
perpetual wealth. So back to the purpose of what we're talking about here. If you're running your business, you need to be cognizant, not necessarily that the thing that drives you, but you need to be aware of what is the purpose of where I'm trying to get to when this ends, because at a certain point, we all know it all is going to end, whether we want to admit it or not. Right? That's a good sound effect. So for these three different options, I personally, for me, most of the people that I talk to that say, I think I want to sell my business, it's not a good idea to sell their business, because it's either not worth what they think it is, or the result of them selling the business just means they have to start another business or get a job because it's not going to pan out that well for them.
Well, the taxes and all the fees and all the things, you're not going to get what you think you want.
Or even the valuation, like you said at the beginning, it's a rude awakening.
Yeah, and I think the key is, like with lifestyle businesses have to be built in a way that the owner is completely and 100% out of it to have any value,
Yes.
any real value.
Right.
Because nobody wants the owner. Nobody wants the founder.
Well, nobody wants the founder, but also if the founder is the only reason the business succeeds and you take that part out,
Then there's
no value.
No value.
Yeah. So, and that's what I think I run into most with people is they don't recognize that they are the value. And if they're removed from it, the business actually has no value.
Correct.
So in that vein, for me, for my business personally, I run my business to exist as a CPA that has an accounting tax advisory firm. I don't know that unless I was able to find a really great operator that I was able to go hands off and build this machine that just cranks out tax and accounting, not a lot of value there to build unless I was going to like have no life and only worry about building my business. It's possible, but I am more in the I'm existing.
Right.
I don't have any preconceived ideas that I'm going to build this as a legacy company. I guess maybe something could change along the way, but I am building this to make a good income, to take care of my family, and to have a vehicle to enjoy the lifestyle that my wife and I and my kids and my grandkids want to have. Where do you land on this?
It's a challenge because, you being in business for as long as I have, which is close to 20 years, you go through different groups, you go through different entrepreneur groups, you go through different networking groups, you go through different coaches or, books that you read. And you're for me, my mind changes because that's kind of how I'm wired. I'm a creative and I'm a storyteller, and I rarely ever feel like a real business person. I have friends who are very polished and very driven.
Thank you.
And
oh, that wasn't me?
And very, they don't do things, they do thing. You're very wonderful and polished-ish.
In another way.
Yes. But most of these fellas and ladies do very specific one thing.
Yes.
And they stay in the lane, but they also have the drive, they have the trajectory they want, and they're relentless and they're consistent. I want that to be me. I don't know if that will ever be me.
So when you think of red mallard,
because we've gone through shifts over the last year where it's not what it was a year ago. And so that's it's downsized. It's just gone through a shift, and so that kind of does things to your ego and to your vision for the business. That kind of just puts you through a little bit of a reality check, I guess, of like, and also it's like, okay, as I pray, it's like, okay, God, what are we doing here? Like, what's your plan? I really don't know. I know the things I should be doing, but I don't feel driven to do them. So do I want to pay somebody to do them? Which then just creates this whole give and take
cycle, right? But did it change? Does this down cycle for you cause you to go from I want to exit and sell this thing for a lot of money to I just want to exist? Or have you always been in that? Where is your mindset? Like, are you building red mallard to say I want to exit?
For me, it depends on who I'm listening to or what I'm reading, and I guess the state of kind of just the family. Right now, I want to just kind of reset and really focus on the things that I do well personally that I know I can stand behind, and go from there.
That sounds like adaptation in order to be able to exist. Because I think in order to be able to exist as a company, regardless of what it is that your product is, you are going to have to adapt in order to be able to keep that longevity, right?
Right. You have to not let your brand, the brand that people have in their mind of who you are, suffer. You have to continue to reinforce what that brand is.
But that's running a business.
That's running a business.
That's a day-to-day.
Right. So when I think about the future, it's cloudy right now. I mean, just for me. But as I've thought about it in the past, it's like, oh yeah, let's get to 10 million in revenue, and then you sell it for 5, 8, 10x, whatever the book tells you.
That's a crazy multiple.
Sure. But if I'm out of the business and it has a big book of clients and it's operationally sound and the SOPs are there and it's
But you're not a tech business. Like that's the thing that I think the industry is so important when you're thinking about an exit.
You need a software to
yes.
You need something very unique, some very unique IP, some very unique something. Service businesses,
we don't get there.
Like 2 to 4,
maybe. If you have a killer process. So one, you're wearing a vessel hat, and it reminds me of Brennan. He is very driven.
Yes,
he is building, and he's a CFO by trade, and he runs a fractional CFO company that does accounting and controller work for companies across the country. Mm-hmm. I've done work with them. I currently do some work with one of their clients now. And I feel like that kind of a service business could get to the place where it does have a big multiple, but I still don't think even a Brennan type or even a Dave Ramsey type that's built this huge machine, I still don't think in a service business you can get tech multiples. I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, because you need. I don't know. I'm not.
You're the creative.
If I'm the creative, but having been around the block here and there, the scene, I think you have to decide to build an environment where people either they want all those connections because they know what to do with them, they know they can roll it up into something, or it's a software, it's a piece of tech, it's some kind of IP that they have to. So I heard an investment banker talk one time at Vistage, and he said that they would coach businesses on how to exit or how to get acquired. And so, but one of the things that was interesting was he said, we always try to look for an out-of-industry buyer because that out-of-industry buyer will value that business higher because they know the cost to go and build the buildings, the infrastructure, the logistics, and all the relationships that go to make that thing hum. And one example used was a pet supply company, and other pet supply companies valued it like 4x or something like that because of the market share they had. They found a company who was in human supply in Europe who wanted to get into pet supply and bring that overseas and then bring their human product to the U.S. And they found this company because it had human grade or sanitation.
Oh, you're from a manufacturing standpoint.
From a manufacturing
they could
standpoint.
make both pet food and
They could
human
do
food.
both in the same facility, and
Got
they had the
it.
same. So they valued it at an 8x. So it went from trying to sell for $200 million to $400 or $500 million or something like that.
So that's interesting because that's not. It's a similar industry, but it's a parallel industry. It's not the same
So
because they understand the value of what they created.
What they built, and they know that what they would have to spend to recreate that.
Yes,
And they can get
makes
that
sense.
back in just sales and market share.
And the one thing I think is important for our audience is that is a very unique, specific situation.
Right.
And for that to be your goal, you've got to make sure you're in an industry where the multiples that are 5, 8, 12 times revenue are realistic. And that's most likely not going to be a service business. Manufacturing, sure, you've got machines and you've got pipelines and things like that that work. If you've got a tech business, obviously is one of them. If you've got a product, I think about Shark Tank. And the people that come on there and they say, I'm seeking $100,000 for 2% of my ATM business.
Right.
It's like
Scrub Daddy.
Yeah, Scrub Daddy. Which the ring guy, it worked. Scrub Daddy, it worked. But there's so many of these people that come in with insane ideas of what their thing is valued at because of some theoretical value that they've put on it, or they've grabbed something off the internet that says we should use this multiple.
I was just going to say too, a lot of times, and like with the dog food thing, it's super popular. Like everything that you're talking about with like it being niche, right? It serves a purpose. It has a niche, but also it's in right now. People are buying farmer's
fad.
dog. Farmer's dog, or like buying like chewy products or just for dogs. I mean, we fed Augie that for, months and then now we're off of it because it would just go bad. So like it was in this lane that was so narrow. They shot the gap, they made it work, and that's not realistic for everybody that's starting a business.
And in that scenario, because it's I'll call it a fad, but it's culturally popular.
Yes, yeah.
That's not going to withstand a long-term business.
Yeah,
like that,
your
that's not-
value depreciates every day.
That's not going to sustain itself.
Yeah.
And so then you really have to look at, okay, what is my business and what do I want to do with that? And what's realistic for my business? As much as I don't want to be the killer of joy.
No, I mean, you got to figure out what you can handle, and then what you're willing to pay other people to handle. Because if you can handle a lot, there's people out there that are wired to be machines. And they can handle a lot, and they can reap the benefits of that. And then they know when to hire because they can't handle anymore. So they hire to handle the things.
But you have to be able to afford that too.
Well, yeah.
And that's the other part that people get into. Well, I'll just finance this new employee without knowing that it's going to, which don't finance employees, by the way. Finance assets, that is reasonable. Cash flow, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But financing people is rough, especially if you don't actually know if it's going to pan out. Sorry, I totally derailed you.
And I would say nobody pans out.
Nobody pans out the way you expected it, or the way you want them to.
Sometimes they excel.
Yeah, sometimes they can. How often does that happen?
There are not as many A players as other players.
It's rare. It's a rarity.
And those people cost money.
Yes, and they do cost money.
And that's the other thing. I think the other thing to keep in mind is if you want to exit, if you want to be in like what you're referring to as the exist state of your business, you're still required to, I would say, be a present person for your people. Unless you have another present person who's going to be making a lot of money or you're going to be paying well to manage and love those people so that they don't leave and disrupt the business, you have to potentially play that part as well. If you want to completely check out, you just got to pay for it.
That's true. Well, and so I've had a couple scenarios, like I said, where I've helped people decide how they want to handle it. And one in particular, actually, this is a client of our dad's who's also a CPA. And I remember sitting in the room with him when he was talking with one of his clients. This is early on in my career, so I was still kind of learning the ropes. And this client their annual revenue was between $4 and $5 million a year, and his net take home was around $700,000 to $800,000 a year. That was his net take home out of that. And in his mind, he assumed that he'd be able to sell it for about 1x. So one times annual revenue, $4 to $5 million. And when you start walking through that and said, okay, let's get the real numbers done. The spreadsheet calculation came back at a 1.8 valuation.
Uh-oh.
So totally not
Which
even
really
close.
means $1 million two after everything's been
Right.
paid.
So then you look at that and you say, okay, I'm looking at maybe over $1 million for something that I am netting in my pocket before taxes and other value adds, but $700,000 a year. Why wouldn't I just?
What do you mean by value adds?
Well, there's certain advantages that you have of owning a business.
Only the
that
CPA knows those.
only
tricks.
the CPA knows the truth.
Stay tuned for our next segment.
But if the IRS is
CPA
listening,
lies.
if the IRS is listening, I don't know any truths.
No.
IRS, I know
only
nothing.
only the truth of
What is
federal government.
That's
Numbers are objective.
numbers are objective. Exactly.
Very good. All right.
But we were having this conversation, and really it came down to, why in the world would you sell this business that you don't have to work that hard at? You have so many advantages that you get to take time off for months and go on vacation.
Yeah.
It still runs, and you're going to get at the end of the year almost $750,000 until you decide to be done.
Yeah, and my brain goes to like, well, if you really just want more time and less responsibility, then you find an A player, pay them $200,000, and make $500,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're still going to have one person to manage, one reportee, and if that person leaves, or when that person leaves, let's say, you have to
figure out what you're going to do.
You got to pivot.
Well, and that's the other part is nothing goes according to plan, which is why in my book that I wrote, Burn Your Plans and Do Things, is the plans never work out the way that you expect.
Right.
It is always, you're going to start in a direction and you're going to have to adjust or pivot along the way because there's some sort of result that comes out that causes you to realize, oh, I was wrong in my perspective, or my process didn't work quite as I thought it was, and you have to start back over and go into that cycle. But starting your business with the end in mind, I think is a good practice. And running your business, even like you're saying, like you think maybe a little differently now about your end game than you did even a year ago.
Yeah, and I think it's the thing you have to be careful to don't fall into the trap of just getting into that negative headspace, which is a challenge for me to not be in. But one thing that came up this morning with coffee with a friend was like thinking about just like writing out the blue sky plan. Like what do you want? What does it look like on that perfect day when everything's, a year, 5 years out, 3 years out, when everything's kind of running on all cylinders and you're enjoying life? What does that day look like? Because that's what you should be doing. But, I think back to just 100 years ago when everybody was farming. Not even 100.
Was that just 100 years ago?
Well,
probably less than that.
Maybe less than that. But
Well,
also
revolution. So
the Industrial Revolution.
100 years ago
20s?
was 4 years before the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
So 100 years ago.
everybody had to work, and everybody worked. They didn't work for fun. They worked for food. They worked for their families. All that innovation over the last 50 years has created just this vacuum of like fulfillment, seeking fulfillment, seeking
personal fulfillment.
What fuels me, or what, thousands of books are just written about this, like, living that perfect lifestyle or discovering it. And it's like, okay, that's all well and good, but you still got to do the things you need to do this day. And I think that rhythm of getting too far ahead of yourself can color or create distraction. And so, it's like I think what your point is like a lot of this stuff should be written in pencil. It should be written down, but maybe written in pencil and in agreement with your spouse and, but like, because like getting to like the Dave Ramsey level of perpetual wealth building, I have a friend who built a very successful business and sold it for a lot of money, enough money that he never had to do anything again. But he's a business guy. He's juiced by business. So 5 years later, after the non-compete ran out, he launched another one. Same thing.
Yeah.
And went after it. And it's not as big as it was, but he's also, the idea was to build it for his children to run. And one thing his wife said to him, like, a couple years ago, because, what his wife said to him, because it wasn't going as he had planned. It wasn't
surprise.
It wasn't accelerating the way he knew it could, the way he would do it. And what she said
Were
is
his
that,
kids running it at that point?
yeah, they're involved.
Okay.
He's still involved, but they're involved because he has to be involved
To keep it moving in the right direction. Or in his
well, he's the driver.
where he wants it to go.
Yeah, and his kids are having kids. And what his wife said to him was, they're not you.
True.
That goes right back to what you're talking about of like you only have like so many A grade players, and then each person you could have an A grade. You can have an A grade chef that doesn't know how to make a souffle, that isn't a pastry chef, but they work 12 to 13 hours a day, and that's what they like to do.
Right.
Right. But if you're looking for somebody to make you like a perfect souffle, and that's not his skill set, then I mean, you just have to be able to work with what you have and look around and say, I can't expect everybody to be me. Because I think there's a lot of people in business that would like to clone themselves.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the trap that you can get into as a business owner when you start bringing people on and you expect, and I've had these conversations with people, is like, well, why don't they care as much as I care? And the answer is they're not you.
They're not
and
you.
they don't get the benefit that you get from it. Even if you brought in a partner and you do it together and you supposedly have the same goal in mind, you don't have the same goal in mind.
Yeah, and I think that's people take the verses out of Proverbs where it's like, a wise man leaves a nest egg or whatever the verse is for his children. Or, I struggle with that.
Well, I think the question is define what that means.
Well, is it money?
Is it spiritual?
Is it only money?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's
legacy, because the legacy can mean so many different things.
Yeah.
And a nest egg can mean so many different things.
But I think that this is also really interesting how it's kind of like shoehorning its way into the conversation about the eternity factor that you're talking about, right? Having an expectation of all of these people to run your business exactly the way that you want them to, you want to hand it over, but it has to be done your way, has to be done perfectly in your eyes, and that's the only way that this thing is going to survive and succeed, is basically trying to do the exact pitfall that you were talking about with the people that are just existing. Expecting to write it down in pen as opposed to pencil and say, this is my plan and it cannot change. The moment that you're handing something over, you still have to realize that, the lights do go out one day and you have to hand it over if that is what your goal is, and it will change.
Yeah. It's unrealistic to think that it wouldn't.
I would bet, $500 right now that my 12-year-old could run my business better than me. Purely because
I doubt it.
I don't know, because he is extremely, I'm relational, but he is structured. So if I was just sitting in the relational seat all day long, making calls, going to lunch, having coffee, just really connecting with people, podcasting and not casting. And somebody like him or him was just running operations.
But see, you can't have just one. You have to have both lanes. And I think that's the part, because if you have someone that's totally operational and can't do the relational part or only focuses on the operational, then you never grow.
Yeah, that's the EOS, that's why EOS has become such a cash cow, is because they created the visionary and the integrator seats.
This whole conversation is fully reminding me of that America's Team documentary.
With the Dallas Cowboys?
With the Cowboys.
I am really interested to watch that. I haven't gotten into it yet. I know you've started watching it.
Yeah, I finished it.
Oh, you finished the whole thing?
I finished the whole thing. And it's fascinating because of the fact that Jerry Jones was able to hedge his bets, make a ton of money, buy a football team, which he always wanted to do, was able to take that football team, build his relationship up with his coach, right? And Jimmy Johnson. Go in and win 2 Super Bowls with him, then fire him because it wasn't being done the way he wanted it to. Then he ended up hiring another head coach. They win another Super Bowl, and they haven't won another one in 30 years.
Wow.
And that just shows that Jerry Jones has this vice grip of control over the Cowboys because it has to be done his way. He wants it to be a legacy, so the next one's going to be Stephen Jones, right? Who is his son. All of his kids are working within the Cowboys organization, but it's obviously not working.
Well, except for it is still, if not it's one of the most.
It is the highest grossing sports franchise of all time.
See, he's doing something right.
So he's making a ton of money, right? But he also has to live with the ridicule, and he has to live with the frustration of, getting so close but not being close enough and never really succeeding what it is that he has in his mind. But he still makes billions of dollars.
I would love to talk to a sports franchise owner at some point and hear from them what it's like to run a sports franchise as a business, because that's fascinating to me. It's so, it's a gamble.
We'll do a double shoot that day, and I'll have him on the sports podcast, and then
that would be really good. That'd be really good.
Do sports.
The do sports. No. Jake. So we can. Should we plug it now?
We can plug it now.
So Jake's going to start another podcast. And this podcast I think it's going to be fun, but it's going to be called, you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be called Poor Sports. It's about people that are fans of bad sports teams. Because I'm a fan of one of the worst baseball teams right now in the LA Angels, which is still gross, the Anaheim Angels, and the Dallas Cowboys. And I have plenty of friends and family that are fans of bad sports teams.
I am fans. The Steelers are a great sports team. You stop it right now.
But I think that we'll be able to have a good amount of crossover.
But and so the sports industry in general, in there is a huge business component there that I am fascinated by, and I want to get into. I want to do an episode about NIL and basically influencer also in the media and how that is impacting the next generation's desire of what they want to do, and for sports and athletes, what that is changing in college sports and in high school sports. And so I think that's another fascinating thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think back to wrap this all up, thinking about how you want to end your business career, I think is an important thing to think about, but hold it loosely, write it in pencil, I think is like what you said. And the reality is, if you're not in an industry that lends itself to a crazy 10x multiple, don't think that your plumbing company is going to be worth $100 million. Okay? Unless you're
risky as all get out and you just start gobbling up with every dollar of profit other plumbing companies. Because I know I have a friend, their family gobbled up all elements of one industry and sold that for, a lot of money 20 years ago. Like close to $1 billion probably. Who knows? But they gobbled up every aspect of what they did.
Yeah.
From the trucks to the distribution to the front end to the retail. They had ownership in everything.
It's a huge investment.
Yeah.
Huge investment. Yeah. And again, it's a unique situation.
It's a unique, because those people are rare, but
and
also
the opportunity to do that had to be a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity for them to even get to the place where they could gobble up all those pieces.
Maybe, but I also think
we should have them in.
Maybe.
Have him, whoever this is that John's talking about so cryptically. We should have you in, and we'd love to talk to you about it.
Don't come in.
Come in. Don't listen to John.
We could do like one of those things.
Oh, a silhouette.
Yeah, like a silhouette and with the
like the Frosted Flakes commercials. Right. Like
I was gonna say like crime documentaries.
But the Frosted Flakes commercials are so much more relevant.
I think the other thing just to keep in mind is, what are you willing to trade off?
Yes.
In the pursuit of whatever you want. Everything's a trade-off.
Everything's a cost, right? Absolutely. But in all of it, you have to keep focusing on the prize.
What is the prize?
Whatever it is that your goal is in your business.
You trying to leave? You trying to stay?
Are you trying to leave? Are you trying to stay? Or even in that day of like, I'm going to focus on doing the best at selling that I can do today.
Yep.
I'm going to do the best at managing my people as I can today, because it's lots of little pieces that end up adding up to the end result. And we can look at the end result, but that can't be the only thing that we worry about, because then when one thing falls out of place, and it will, then we'll start to spiral, and then that's never good.
That blue sky goal that you were talking about, make that today.
That's right.
Get your blue sky goal done today.
Today's the blue sky.
Stop worrying about the other shoe dropping.
Yes.
Just go.
Because it will.
That's what my therapist says.
Wow.
Yeah, she says, why are you so focused on tomorrow?
Focus on today.
It's got enough problems of its own.
That's right. I think there's scripture about that too. But that's another podcast.
Not this one. This is all about profits and money and doing things
And doing
ethically,
according to
ethically doing things to make
things
money.
as if you are working for the Lord. How about
yes.
that? I think that's an important thing.
But what is your Lord or who?
That's
Mine's Jesus.
a whole other
Mine's
podcast
Jesus.
too.
Mine's Jesus. Yes.
Mine's Jesus. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I zoned out for a second. I started thinking more about like, man, now we're gonna get into like theologic. Like,
There we go. It's just turned into a Jesus and Coffee podcast. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody. Make sure to like, subscribe to our channel wherever you're watching or listening to this. Comment,
bookmark
on
the gram.
And
share it.
Share it.
What about talk?
Tell your mom.
Or I will tell her for you.
Well, yeah, because Jake will. He will.
snap.
Jake will tell your mom.
That's a
one of his
callback.
things. That's a callback. All you TSTO listeners. And then we will see you on the next Do Business show.
We will see you tomorrow night.
No, not tomorrow night.
Okay.
I mean, there will probably be a clip, but it won't be a full episode.
Thank you.